Hey friend, Roger Christopherson here again with another First Listen review, and I am very excited to be babbling today about the band Queen and their very first album. It's getting the collector's edition box set is what they're calling this one. And man, what can you say about Queen that hasn't already been said? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. The very first couple albums of Queen have always been like my favorites. I know they were more popular with their bigger albums and, you know, their huge hits and all that stuff that came later on, and a lot of that stuff is great masterpieces, but for me, I just like the more raw feeling of the first couple albums, and even then, you know, like Killers and Jazz even a little bit, but you know, these first two just had that energy of a band that's just like has something to prove, and they're out there ready to give it all they got and rock. And I just think these albums are just, I don't know how to explain it. They just have this energy to them that they didn't quite have later on, even though all their stuff is great, but don't get me wrong. But man, it's just that raw energy of a young band trying to prove themselves. It's like this, got that magic feeling to it, I think. And I was like really excited to hear what they had done with this stuff, because I mean, the Queen stuff has always been top notch, even going back to this album. The studio stuff, they right from the start were trying to get the most interesting sounds they could, and the harmonies were all there right from the very start, and their songwriting is just not your normal, you know, verse, bridge, chorus, repeat, solo, chorus out. It's not that type of stuff at all. I mean, some of their stuff, you know, followed that, but not, this album didn't follow that at all. It's almost like it tells a story, you know, and they put the running order of it back in the way it was intended to be. It actually added Mad the Swine back in, and all I can say is the remix of this one sounds great. I know it's hard to like hear things sometimes, you know, and I really appreciate it when you're so used to hearing something a certain way. And I've had that happen with me, you know, you hear something new. I like the Jailbreak album from, 1976, they called it the Thin Lizzy thing. You know, hearing that was quite jarring. This didn't have that same jarring effect. It was like, all right, this actually is an improvement on the original without losing that energy. It's just, you can hear things a little bit more distinctly. The vocals, the harmonies, especially the bass, which I thought was always like there, but it was always like kind of full. I don't want to say muddy, but a little bit. They cleared it up a little bit, so it's got more distinct separation from the rest of the songs. And man, it just gave me a whole new appreciation for this. Can't wait till I can hear what they do with the rest of the stuff that's coming out. So that's just my quick little take on the remix. Now there's a ton of added extra stuff in here. It's kind of weird because the second CD was super short. It only had 5 songs on it, and it was stuff that they had done at the Delane Leah demos, where they had started recording originally, and it was really interesting to hear, you know, what they had done, and a little bit different. Although Freddie always just sings great, and I'm gonna, even on the stuff where there's guide vocals on the CD3, just always sings great. I mean, he's never really sounds bad, so it's just awesome listening to this stuff, you know, hearing even just the raw stuff way back. And anyway, I just want to mention real quick that Keep Yourself Alive, there's a very strong acoustic guitar presence, which isn't really there on the one they ended up doing. It just gave it a whole new sound. I was like, holy cow, that's interesting. It's strange they didn't keep it like that on the original, because it actually did sound pretty cool. But I mean, the original still sounds amazing, so I can't, you know, knock on it too much, but it really did make a huge difference to that song, I think. But that's not the version they used, but it's kind of cool here, you know, to hear it here. CD3 is just all the different sessions, like I was just mentioning, kind of how they were working the tracks up and building them up, and there's a lot of talking in between the songs and stuff. For me, I love listening to that stuff. It's just fun to you know, hear what they were doing, how they developed the songs. Because I like writing songs that I've written for all the bands I've been in, and you know, it's just cool to hear how other bands work and just hear, you know, what they do. So for me, I thought it was really cool. I mean, the diehards out there are probably gonna love it too. There's actually a little song on here called See What a Fool I've Been, that was not on the original album, that they threw there in the sessions one. And you get to hear Mad the Swine in there too, their little original version of that. I think that was all that was extra on that one, so that was kind of cool. CD4, I don't really have any interest in this one. It was the backing tracks. It's just all the songs without vocals. A lot of bands do this. They do like orchestral stuff. I personally, just my personal feeling on it, I could care less about that. I'm not going to put it in and sing along with it. I like singing along with the person singing, you know, when I'm rocking out in the car and whatever. My little take, so I don't know, whatever that was. CD5 has got all the BBC sessions from 1973. Of course, there's one little tag on there from 74. Just proving that they can perform this stuff live and how great it sounds live. It just amazes me how tight these guys were, how amazing Freddie always sang, but musically they sounded great. One thing I forgot to like really mention, I was gonna mention, I tend to forget things every time I do these, but even though Brian May's guitar sound kind of developed over the years, we all know he made his guitar and he has his own very distinct sound. You can hear it on here, but it wasn't quite as developed as it was, like especially by like Night at the Opera and you know, Day at the Races, and that sound that we're all used to really hearing from that point on. But these earlier ones, he still has that Brian May sound, and I've heard people say it, and I believe it 100%, that the sound of a guitar player, it comes off his fingertips. And there's a few different, you know, places in here that he's using some wah and some other, you know, fuzzy effects, but it still sounds like Brian May. Just the way he holds his notes and picks and plays. That sound of a guitar player just cuts through any sound on the amplifier that they're using. It does come through right off the fingertips through the speakers. It just does, and Brian May just proves that on this album. It's just, I kind of, you know, I haven't listened to this album actually in quite a while, I'll admit, but listening back, it's like, man, he just always has sounded like Brian May. You know, some people take a while to develop. The sound of his actual setup changed, but the sound of him has always been him. So I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm sort of guitar players know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so it was kind of cool hearing that, and it carried over into the live BBC stuff. Some of these recordings are a little bit more iffy than others. Some of them are really good, a couple of them are a little rough, but overall that was a fun listen. And then it ends with this Queen one live thing where the majority of this comes from Live at the Rainbow. It's funny, they threw a guitar solo and a drum solo in there. I'm guessing because at this point in time they didn't have, I don't know, thought they had plenty of songs to do, but I don't know, maybe they didn't have enough worked up to do live. Who knows? I don't know. It seems strange that they would do that, or this just isn't the whole concert, I guess. But either way, it was fun. And the same thing carries over there. They just sound amazing live. The recording of this is a little bit distorted. It's like a little bit overpowering the speakers. Like I don't know how they recorded it, what they used, but it is a little bit overpowering, and in certain parts it starts to distort just a little bit, but the majority of it sounds pretty darn good. They throw in a couple songs from Live in San Diego. The sound gets a little bit more rough there, which is weird because this was a couple years later. It was in 1976. Overall, it sounded decent. That was Hangman and Do All Right, which, whatever reason they threw those on here, I don't really know, but it was fun listening to either way. But there is the very last two tracks on this whole thing is two songs taken from their, I guess, their very first live performance ever. They did Jesus and I'm a Man, and that's really rough. Those recordings are rough, although you still get to hear what they sound like live. It sounds like just somebody holding a cassette recorder in the middle of the audience recording is what it sounds like. Their version of I'm a Man is pretty interesting, a lot slower than, because of course the original version of it, I forget who did it. Was it, I don't know, like Muddy Waters or Bo Diddley? I can't remember who did the original one. Somebody I'm sure out there knows is gonna like make fun of me for not knowing that, but more like the original version, really slow. I've heard that song done, 100 times by 100 bands, 100 different ways, but it was kind of cool to hear them do it, their own little take on it, and very closer to the original than anything else. But anyway, yeah, wow, what a bunch of stuff that listen to. Of course, if you get the set, there's a book in it, which I have not read through at all, and some other extra memorabilia in there, which I never really care about that stuff, honestly. I never talk about it much on here because I'm more concerned with the music. I always usually go straight to the bonus stuff. I actually didn't do that on this one. I went right to the remix. I just wanted to listen to it straight through, and after a few hours of sitting here listening to it, man, I'm ready to hear what they have to put out next. So anyway, I'm going really long on this one. So as always, I welcome your comments, what you think about it, what Queen stories you have to share. As always, love to hear it. And like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because I can't wait to hear some more stuff from these guys. So anyway, until next time, see ya.